tech bros have undoubtedly been a huge part of President-elect Donald Trump's campaign.
Now there are strong signs that Trump will implement an unprecedented initiative that many in the tech world are advocating for.
That initiative would be a federal stockpile of Bitcoin.
Simply put, Trump's plan would mean that the government would buy and store billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin.
Now, advocates say that one major impact this plan could have will be to help ease the national debt.
Apparently, the crypto world is very optimistic about a Trump presidency, and Bitcoin itself has surged past $100,000 now.
At this time last year, it was around just $42,000.
Trump and his family have wasted no time cashing in on the crypto craze. The president launched Trump on Friday, and not to be left behind, First Lady Melania Trump launched her own coin last night. It had a total trading value of almost $13 billion as of Sunday. Joining us now to discuss Trump's plan to create a federal Bitcoin stockpile and what that would look like is former Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Treasury Department under the Trump administration, Brian Morgenstern. Brian, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Great topic to discuss on this momentous day.
Absolutely. So just explain in layperson's terms to someone who's not necessarily deep in the crypto world what this plan is and what you see its merits as being.
Sure. So the United States holds a number of strategic assets, including the gold bullion depository, the gold reserve. We have a strategic oil reserve. Of course, the U.S. government owns a tremendous amount of land, of real estate. So it holds commodities, it holds hard assets. The economy of the future, I think, demands that it hold Bitcoin because it is the OG cryptocurrency, OG digital asset. It has a fixed supply cap. And in an age when the United States has been debasing its currency with some reckless fiscal policy and loose monetary policies, we've seen the value of the dollar decrease by some 20 to 25% over just the Biden administration, just the last 4 years. So I think it is wise for the U.S. government to start hodling, as the Bitcoiners call it, a strategic reserve of Bitcoin. It will help in terms of the debt and currency debasement I just talked about. China and Russia are looking to diversify assets, get away from U.S. dollar dominance, getting into more precious metals. I think we could front run them on this. The U.S. as the first mover would reap outsized benefits, and I see very little, virtually no downside, plenty of possible upside. Bitcoin really started with a cultural revolution, dissatisfaction with the legacy financial system. It has since grown and matured and is now held by some of the largest corporations in the world. We see the ETFs on Wall Street becoming the most successful launch of a similar product in history. It's finally time for the government to catch up to what many people, investors, Bitcoiners, people who really want to see a more small d democratic financial system get into. I think it's time for the government to catch up, and we could really put our country on a much better footing if we do this.
Trump right now, all of a sudden, seems to have a good relationship with a number of tech CEOs, and of course the Republican Party has control of Congress. Is there regulatory action or any kind of regulatory framework we should be expecting to see with respect to Bitcoin or to crypto more generally in this next administration?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a number of issues. One that has been exploding recently into the public square is the debanking issue. And look, a group of us met with President Trump over the summer to talk about these issues. And that was one of the first things he brought up was people being debanked for political reasons or they're in, politically disfavored industries. It was a phenomenon that started in the Obama administration. It worsened during the Biden administration. So one of the first messages he told us was that he understands why people are looking for ways to self-custody their assets. They're looking for alternative means of transacting. So I think the debanking scandal is going to be fully unearthed and stopped, hopefully for good. We're going to see more energy regulation. All these industries, Bitcoin mining to AI and HPC, they're going to need a lot more electricity. I think the Trump administration is going to do what it can to unleash energy dominance so that we can kind of win this space race in digital assets and AI. I think you're going to see a market structure where there's clear rules of the road in terms of what is a commodity, what is a security, what is just sort of a token or collectible, so that people can transact safely and they know what the rules are. So far, the Biden administration has been purposefully ambiguous and opaque, telling people to register but giving them no way to do so. So I think there will be clear rules of the road that will allow these industries to flourish. And if we don't do it, other countries will. And President Trump wants to win. He wants to win in everything. And he definitely wants to win in this tech space because it's going to have profound implications for which country or countries will be leading the economy of the future.
Talking of that desire to win on the incoming president's part, obviously, Brian, there's a lot of talk about this, whether you want to call it a meme coin or a crypto coin that he has just launched. Took a lot of people by surprise. It soared in value. At one point, certainly, it placed him, at least on paper, as one of the 25 richest people in the world. Now, the criticism I'm seeing from some in the media or from some in liberal circles is that this provides a vehicle for people to essentially, if not exactly funnel money to him, buy the meme coin, which then increases his net worth in a way that would enable people who had sufficient money to cater favor with him in an ethically dubious way. I assume you don't agree with that analysis, so what's your response to it?
I don't agree with that analysis. President Trump doesn't need a lot more money. He's always been, he's been a very wealthy and successful businessman for generations. He's, I think, one of the only presidents whose net worth actually went down because he took time off to serve as president of the United States. I think he sees the trends that, these these digital assets really are a burgeoning space. He likes to be a part of new and shiny things, hopefully successful things. I don't think it's going to have one iota of difference on what his public policies are. He campaigned on a very clear platform that included freedom in this space. So I think the fact that he's participating in it, I see as putting his money where his mouth is. People thought that he was having, ethical issues because some foreign diplomats would stay in his hotels when he came to the United States. I always thought that was a specious argument. I think this one falls into a similar category. President Trump is very transparent with where he wants the country to go. This is the president whose inner monologue is virtually published every day on Truth Social, sometimes on X. So I just don't see that argument holds water.
It's a very interesting topic. I predict we will be discussing Bitcoin and crypto quite a bit to come. Brian Morgenstern, thank you so much for lending us your expertise.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Have a great day.
Coming up on Rising, will Trump be able to save TikTok? We'll discuss the latest news. Stay tuned.